A flag appears on one building and within minutes the internet declares that an entire Ukrainian settlement has fallen. But what does that flag actually prove? If the footage is authentic, current, and correctly located, it may show that soldiers reach one place, the control ladder. The ladder that follows is this video's explanatory framework, not a universal military or legal standard. Start with 4 different conditions. Presence means troops reached a location. Fire control means a force can observe or affect movement in an area without necessarily keeping troops there. It is not necessarily a successive stage after presence or before territorial control. Contested or partial occupation means control is mixed. Sustained territorial control is the highest threshold. It requires continuing physical influence. That is why roads, fields, defensive positions, and supply routes matter. The practical question is not only whether soldiers reached a building. Now apply that ladder to 2 reported cases, Ternuvate in Ukraine's southeastern Zaporizhia region and Pokrovka in the northeastern Sumy region. A flag may show presence. Ternuvate, a reported infiltration. Ternuvate, a reported infiltration. Ternuvate is in the wider southern front in Zaporizhia. On January 30, 2026, Ukrainian Southern Defense Forces spokesperson Vladislav Voloshin was reported as saying that Russian troops infiltrated the settlement, planted a flag, and were eliminated in about an hour. On screen, labeled a claim clearly, Ukrainian official statement, reported January 30, 2026. This is an attributed account of what a Ukrainian official said. The available research does not establish the original video file, its metadata, the exact building coordinates, or the footage's independent authenticity, although ISW assessed the footage as geolocated to western Ternuvate. It also does not establish how long the Russian group had access, or whether the operation was reconnaissance, an assault, propaganda, or something else. So the careful conclusion is narrow. Ukrainian reporting describes a brief Russian infiltration and flag planting. ISW assessed that the flag raising did not indicate a change in control of the terrain. The same rule applies to a Ukrainian flag. The reported Pokrovka case in Sumy shows why the standard must apply to both sides. Pokrovka is near the Russian border. On March 21, 2026, Interfax Ukraine reported that Ukraine's 14th Army Corps raised a flag over the village and described it as evidence that Ukrainian forces retained fire control. That wording matters. It was the Corps' description, not an independently verified measurement of Ukrainian control. Fire control is not the same as uncontested physical occupation. A Ukrainian flag can therefore be meaningful without proving complete security of the village. It may show access, a strike operation, or a continued ability to influence the area. Interfax Ukraine reported that ISW and deep state maps depicted most of Pokrovka as contested, with differing conditions on the eastern outskirts. How maps assess control maps are not direct windows into every position on the battlefield. ISW publishes assessments based on its stated methodology and available evidence. Deep State Map is another OSINT mapping project. The two should not be treated as if they necessarily use identical methods or inputs. ISW maintains static control maps and time-lapse products to show how its assessment changes. A gray or contested area does not mean that nobody knows anything. A short video can arrive before the evidence needed to assess its consequences. Analysts may seek follow-up evidence of continued presence or control before changing an assessment. That is the key distinction. A report of movement is not automatically an assessment of sustained physical control. 4 checks. Before you share a flag video, use 4 checks. Bring up each card as it is applied. Date. Where and when was it filmed? Find the earliest available upload, then compare buildings, roads, terrain, weather, shadows, and visible damage. Location. Can the site be geolocated? Match landmarks and the relationship between the flag site and the rest of the settlement. Claims. What does each side say and what do independent maps assess? Record the source and date of every statement. Aftermath. What happened afterward? Look for evidence of patrols, defensive positions, reinforcement, resupply, casualty evacuation, withdrawal, or continued movement. What we know and what we don't know for Ternuvate, the available research supports an attributed Ukrainian account of a brief Russian infiltration and flag planting. Ukrainian officials reported that the group was eliminated within about an hour. ISW assessed that the flag raising did not indicate a change in control. For Pokrovka, the research supports the reported Ukrainian description of retained fire control, and Interfax Ukraine's report that ISW and deep state maps depicted mostly contested ground, with differing conditions on the eastern outskirts. Those unresolved details are not minor footnotes. They determine what the evidence can support. Why flags don't redraw maps return to the opening image. The flag may establish that people carrying it reached one location if the footage is authentic, current, and correctly geolocated. It may document a real event. This is not a test designed only for Russian claims. A Russian flag does not automatically prove Russian control, and a Ukrainian flag does not automatically prove Ukrainian control. The same questions apply every time. Is the footage authentic? Is it current? Is it current? Is it correctly located? A flag may establish access to one location. Sustained control requires sustained evidence. In card, subscribe for evidence-led explainers that separate a battlefield image from a confirmed change in control.